I questioned you this morning, what strategy or strategies am I currently engaged in to help me gain knowledge of my deliberate practice element, and use that element in my classroom to increase my effectiveness as a teacher and increase student achievement. That's a lot, but the whole purpose here of deliberate practice is to make you a better teacher, which in turn are going to impact your students in a positive manner. So, I'm just going to go real quick. If anyone wants to share out, what are some strategies you're using with your deliberate practice element? Ms. Navarro.
We're using exit slips based on the objective, not just what the activity, but just the overall objective, which is tied into our standard. And also with the centers, the reading centers now, more self-to-text connection, more text-to-text connection, and having that reflect with writing.
So that's tied into your deliberate practice element? Okay, very good. Anybody else want to share?
Age multiplication sonnets for the rhyming peg words to represent knowledge.
Okay, very good. All right, I guarantee that most of you, the biggest, or I won't guarantee, I will tell you, the biggest resource you probably have right now, up to this point to help you, is Effective Educators, your Becoming a Reflective Teacher book, and your Art and Science of Teaching book, which you all have. All right, those have wonderful resources in them that deal directly with your deliberate practice element. Today, we're going to open it up a little more. One of the big things that we've been talking about as a district and as a school is helping you guys learn from each other, because you're your best resource. You're in the classroom with your students. You know what's working, you know what's not working. So we want to take the school and the district really from teachers being isolated into their classrooms and branching out, helping each other. That's one of the reasons we do PLCs. You have a chance to come together and talk about what's working, what's not working. So today we are going to learn about instructional rounds. How many people have heard of instructional rounds? You can raise your hand. If you haven't, that's okay. So our learning goal today for instructional rounds, I will be able to describe the purpose of instructional rounds and how they impact teacher growth. What I'd like you to do, here's your scale, I'm not going to read it to you. You can go ahead and jot down on that little cardio for the brain, just jot down in the corner where you are. That's what really instructional rounds we're going to focus on. So I'm going to leave that up there. And I have a handout for you guys. It's an article that was written this past summer by Dr. Marzano. And we're going to kind of break apart this article in your groups. And then we're going to talk about it.
Okay, so we're talking about the rounds with the other teachers out there. I know that they're coming in and they knock the person in to allow you, the person. And when they visit, they're going to take notes of what they observe and what they're interested in. They'll put down like a strategy or style that you use, and they'll jot it down. And then after that, they have a meeting amongst them, like the other 5 teachers and my facilitator facilitates, and they discuss like specific instructional strategies that were used, and it's not for them to evaluate.
All right, take about 1 minute, and then we'll share out as a group. But hold on, you all talked about it, right? So, contribute. Come on.
This is where the teachers will come together and reflect on their experience during the observation. If there is no explicit feedback to the observed teacher, it's more of a general comment, sharing back and forth ideas of the strategies that you saw, the strategies that you might implement in your classroom, and what did you learn from the observations, but you don't give explicit feedback to the teacher.
Okay, correct. Now, and I said, right, thank you. Now, I did say this section was kind of long because in my sheet it is longer. There's a part that I cut off that I forgot to cut off on yours. And I cut it out for a reason. Because the way that Marzano in his article says to give feedback, the way that we do the debrief was called a pluses and a deltas. And when I went to the training in November, I left there and I really tried to wrap my head around the pluses and the deltas, and I just said it doesn't make sense. Like the way that we're using this, that debrief didn't make sense. So I went to Kelly Raybon at the district, who's in professional development services, who was training on this model on Monday, and I said, Kelly, I need some help with this pluses and deltas because I really just don't get it. And she said, yeah, you don't get it because it doesn't work. But that's how we were trained, and I said, but I went to the initial training. So she showed me a new way. So the way that we're going to debrief, and it made so much more sense when she explained it this way, is what's going to happen is we'll have some columns, and they'll be, what we'll do is we'll put the elements that you saw, and what were the student responses to those elements. And then what you will come up with, you'll develop your own questions, and not questions about, why did Ms. Tyrell do it that way? She should have done it this way. But more as, I saw her do this, and this is what happened. But when I do it in my classroom, this is what happened. What's different? Or, I liked how she did that. I wonder how it would impact this group of learners. You know, those are the kind of questions that you're asking yourself. So then when you're reflecting on your own learning through, he talks about the reflective teaching book through peer observation, videos, for yourself, your feedback. Those questions that you came up with are what you're looking, the lens that you're looking through when you're looking at that video or you're talking to that peer observer, because you really want to answer those questions. And that's how you're going to boost your practice and boost your knowledge of that deliberate practice element. All right, last section. Who haven't I heard from? Shocker. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The last section has three questions that you can ask yourself. First one where you're taking note of the instructional strategies that you're currently using. Second one is examining how well they work, and the third one is coming up with a new strategy.
Okay. And what is the purpose of the question?
Self-reflection.
I'm sorry?
Self-reflection.
Okay, very good. All right, reflecting. Again, this all goes back to, we're very big in this year into reflecting. And I can tell you that's not going away. So it is a practice that you want to get in the habit of, because it really does work when you're reflecting on your own learning. And one of the things, I feel question number 2, as a result of what I saw today, what questions do I have about my own teaching? That is a very tough question for people to ask themselves, because really it takes a step of saying, I don't know everything. I'm not the best, and I can learn. And sometimes we have a hard problem doing that. I know I had a hard time until really college when I had a professor knock me down about 3 pegs. And it was tough, and I hated his class, but then after I reflected about it, I actually took 2 more of his classes in college. And it was probably one of the best learning experiences I ever had, because he just pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. So it was really awesome. But anyway, so that's really the process. So when we go into the room, that's what's going to happen. We're going to go in, you're going to observe, take notes, we're going to go back, and it's about 30, 45 minutes to debrief. So the whole process takes about an hour, a little over an hour. What we're going to do now, in the essence of time, I was going to have you guys do a what it is not T-chart, but just from listening to you and listening to the discussions, I think you got it, okay? So I'm not going to go ahead and do that. And that is another thing in your classrooms too. I know sometimes we feel like just because it's in our lesson plans, we have to do it, okay? We wrote it down, so we have to do it. Sometimes you need to alter your teaching a little bit. I can tell you guys have a good grasp on what this is, so I'm going to skip that part because I know you guys want to get your report cards done and everything else. So now we're actually going to go into the practice part a little bit. What I've done is I have from Marzano, from the Effective Educators, I have a video. It's about 6 minutes, and it is a middle school math video. So I'm going to actually pass out the sheets that you're going to use when we go into the classrooms, and you're going to conduct an instructional round on this teacher. All right?